So Jackie Stevens here, along with Edgar Agüero. Happy Friday to everybody out there. We want to introduce a very, very special guest. And when I say special, it's because of I kind of went back on it yesterday when I went on that video saying that I had a personal issue back, a couple of years ago. And I will, talk about it a little bit today and why Hector Mendoza came in and literally changed my life. When I say that, it's true. And I want to welcome Hector Mendoza from City Credit Repair here in El Paso. Thank you for joining us, Hector. We're super excited to have you here. How are you?
Thank you, guys. I'm good. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Good. So today we're going to just kind of go over about your company. Tell us a little bit about City Credit Repair and who you are. How did you develop this amazing product and amazing company here in El Paso?
So I started in the finance industry about, 17 years ago. Back in 2003, I was a sales manager, finance manager at a car dealership. So I dealt with credit very often. Mm-hmm. And I never had a solution for those people. Nothing whatsoever. If they got turned down, they got turned down, and we had to send them out the door. Wow. I met somebody there that actually did credit repair, and I immediately got out of the car industry because I knew that was going to be a better place to be. So I worked for another credit repair company for a couple of years and got my feet wet there. And that's when we kind of decided, him and I, to open up City Credit Repair as a separate entity and kind of like a Burger King and McDonald's, so to speak. So we were going to be in cahoots with each other, but we were also going to be competitors. Yes. And we thought it was going to work out. It kind of didn't work out, but I stuck with it. And I said, you know what, I'm going to continue to do this. And I continued to keep the City Credit Repair name, even though it was a partnership. I decided to continue with the City Credit Repair name. And the reason I did is because I love what it stands for. City is not necessarily City stolen from City Financial, although that's where I kind of got the idea from. Sure. It's really an acronym for credit in today's industry. And because credit is always evolving, I wanted a name that was going to continue to stay, current. And credit in today's industry means just that. Credit is going to be a today type thing. So what is credit looking like today? And what do I need to do to change it? Okay. And there have been several changes throughout the years with the credit industry. And we have to evolve as credit repair companies and figure out different solutions and different strategies and whatnot, because the credit bureaus themselves also have strategies to keep this bad information on your credit report. So we need to develop strategies to remove it from the credit report because we want to help the consumer. And I didn't start off with dealing with nothing but realtors, but it ended up that way. I deal with nothing but realtors now, and I'm very integrated into the mortgage business, so to speak. So I deal with tons of realtors, tons of loan officers, and I love it now. And the reason I love it is because I get to put people in a position to purchase something that's going to change their lives, as you spoke about earlier. I feel like I do change lives, and it's wonderful. It's a good feeling when somebody calls me and tells me, hey, thank you so much, I got my house because of you. It's like, oh wow, okay, wonderful. It makes me feel good, as I'm sure you all feel good when you sell a home to somebody and you're making their dreams come true. And I feel like I kind of involve myself in that as well every now and then.
Correct. And then that feeling, that absolute feeling of the journey, that's why I'm saying the journey of them knowing that the position that they were in, and then of course seeing the accomplishment, homeownership or whatever else it is the story. I mean, it's the best stories out there. Do you agree?
Absolutely. I think it's crazy, and you touched on it a little bit. I mean, everybody always tells you, hey, what's the really cool story of a closing? And you share, I sold this huge home and everything, but really when we scale back to it, it's always the stories that you hear. Man, I remember going to the bank and saying, I want to buy a house. And, without them laughing at them, basically telling them, you don't qualify, right? And I think I stole the point from you a few years back when you were like, you know what, you don't qualify now. But if we do a few things, allow me to, put the right things in, you follow the plan, it'll get there. And so just to hear you say that, that's what makes us love what we do, is we help people. And a lot of it starts with this first step. So again, very excited to have you on today to share that and talk to us a little bit about it.
Definitely.
Hector, so back in the day, as I was mentioning to you before, I was a 700, 800 credit score years ago. I would say 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I just came out of the sheriff's department. I took care of my credit like crazy. I was like paying on time. The first of the month, I honored my credit report. Like I worked my credit score. I worked super hard for it. And as we were growing into a family, well, life happens, and Edgar got laid off from work. He was working at AT&T during that time, right?
Yep.
He gets laid off. I'm about to have one of my kids, all my kids. I think JJ during that time with it. And one day I woke up and I was like, my gosh, Edgar looked at me and he was just like, we're in a bad situation. Like we are going to lose our house. He didn't want to tell me about it. He was a man that was like, I could do it. I could take care of it. He didn't want to say anything. And I woke up and I literally cried. It was like, what are you talking about? He's like, we are 3.5 months behind. I don't know what to do anymore. And so I picked up the phone and I just said, freaking rent the house. Like rent the house. We need to find a renter. And sure enough, we ended up finding a renter. The renter ends up moving in. We were out like in a day and a half. We were already in the house like over 10 years. Mm-hmm. I had to pack my whole life and I cried and I moved to my mama's house. And my mom lived down the street. And from there, things got worse because I had to let all my accounts go. I could not even afford one minimum payment of $5. I think it was Target. And I couldn't do it. I'm like, I gotta let it go. There's no way. I have to survive. And we did. And from there, I always cried because I was like, I would just see my credit points go down and down and down. Luckily, we did not lose our house. We found a renter right away. They rented the house where they're at my mom's house. So from there, I had to take that huge hit like no tomorrow. I don't even know if I was a 300, if I was a 400 credit score. And I waited years and years and years to pass by. And I said, I guess I have to wait the 7-8 years. Right. During that time. Well, we end up getting, 3 years, 4 years, we stay with my mom. We moved back to our first home of the one that we almost lost. And that's when I told Edgar, I need to find somebody to fix our credit. We were able to get a little bit back on track. And I did. I found a couple of people. I went and worked hard to lay money on their table, these credit repair industry companies, and I never got any results. They just lingered there. And the account stayed there, and I wasted money until I met you. I don't remember how I got in contact with you. I'm not sure.
I believe it was through Victor Alonso. I'm not sure, but I think that's how it kind of started because
Victor, are you on here? Where are you? He was my mentor from back in the day, and my agent that directed me. Maybe it was.
Or through David Acosta, because I did a presentation at David Acosta's office.
Well, I was part of David Acosta's team and Victor's team, and maybe it was. Thankfully, thanks to God, you fell in my lap. I ran to your, when you told me I'm available, I'm right here, you're by Steve-O's, I'm the Trevino. And I went and I told him, I'm going. I don't think Edgar went with me. And I just pulled out a big chunk of money and, well, not big chunk of money, right? But you put me on a plan and you said, Jackie, we're going to get through this. This is going to be a journey, but we're going to get through this. And it's going to take time, but you need to be patient. And I said, well, I've been patient all these years, what's a couple of more months or even a year or two? So I want to thank you for that, because here now I'm well above, taking care of my credit again. what I wanted to say that story because I want to reach out to the people here on my social media and of course with you and say, there's never a wrong time to start. You're never gonna know, or if you're scared because you think that the loan officer is gonna pull your credit and no, you're denied right away. No, we don't do that here. We pull your credit. We see that if you're a 400 or 500, guess what? We're not gonna tell you to get out through the door. You're gonna come back here, and we're gonna take that report and we're gonna take it right to Hector, and Hector's gonna review everything for you and put you on a plan that works for you. So if you've been shut down by loan officers or lenders that do that because they just want the easy deal, let's go, let's move on, golden files. No, that's not going to be in our books. We don't do business that way. So we want you in our office and we want to set up a plan. Can you tell us, Hector, how, when we give you that report and how you set up these appointments with these wonderful clients that we have of ours that are in account with you right now?
So what I do is I take a look at the credit report and I analyze it as much as I can. I've been looking at credit reports since 2003. So I'm very familiar with how credit reports work and what to look for. And there's no really, specific way of doing it other than looking at the totality of it and figuring out, okay, what do I need to do to get this person to a level where they can purchase a home, purchase a vehicle. And regardless of whether they're being sent by a mortgage officer or a family member, I'm looking to fix credit. I'm not looking to put them in a position to just purchase a home. I'm putting them in a position to purchase a home, purchase a vehicle, get furniture in that home, and get whatever else they need. If they want to get a pool and finance that, hey, if it's in your budget, go right ahead. You do what you want. It's your money. So I want to put that person in a position to become a part of society again, because when you have bad credit, you feel like you're no longer a part of society because you can't purchase this or you can't purchase that, and you feel ostracized. Is that the word? You feel like you're an outcast, and especially with insurance, and you're trying to get a place of employment, you're trying to get a job, and they tell you no because you have bad credit. Well, a lot of our world now revolves around credit, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because they think that you're a bad person just because you have bad credit. And that's not the case. As your story, you all are not bad people at all. And you had bad credit at one point. And I can assure you that if you went to go look for a job at that point, they would have turned you down because they thought you were a bad person. Yes. And I think that's horrible. So I want to put people in a position where they can, purchase a home, purchase a vehicle, get a job, get better insurance rates, because again, insurance rates are also based off of credit. So I look at the credit report in its totality, and I try to figure out a solution to put them in that position. It may be trying to get some negative accounts removed. It may be paying off some accounts. It may be also adding some accounts into their credit report via authorized user trade lines, or maybe even having them open up a secured credit card if they want to go that route. Okay. So there are tons and tons of solutions for every case. So no two cases are really alike. I guess there's some similarities, but no two cases are alike. Everybody has their own situation. It's like reading a new book every single time. And you got to open up that book and figure out what the plot is and analyze it and figure out how to get to that final solution.
Yeah. So when you see these clients, do you determine, okay, how much work or how many accounts it is? Are there any payment plans that you can maybe put them on, or how do you do that?
So a lot of these credit repair companies out there, they'll do a monthly type program. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not against that whatsoever, but I also look at it as, would you hire a painter to paint your house on an hourly wage? He's going to take forever. He's going to take 3 weeks on a job that could possibly take 1. So I developed a strategy to have a one set fee. So every case is different. So again, I don't have a flat fee. There's also a lot of companies out there that will have flat fees. But again, if I'm doing work for one person and he needs, 15 items removed, and then I'm charging another person the exact same price and all he needs are 2 or 3 items removed, somebody's getting a good deal and somebody's, not so much. So I tailor the program to everybody's needs, and I also tailor the price to everybody's needs. And if they need a payment plan, we'll figure something out. I don't have anything set in stone, so I don't fly by the seat of my pants, but I do, let them dictate how long they want to take in fixing their credit. If they want to extend, a payment plan of 6 months, hey, so be it. Let's do that, but it's going to take a little bit longer. If you want to get it paid all up front or really quickly, we'll try as hard as we can to get it done as quickly as possible. But I do explain to them, hey, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. We will run into, hurdles that we have to jump over, and sometimes we're going to trip and fall, but rest assured, I will be there and I will help you because I do have a money back guarantee on all my programs.
Yes.
Again, a lot of companies do not have that money back guarantee, and I do. And that's what kind of puts most of my clients at ease that, hey, if I do fail, and I might, I'll give them their money back. That's not an issue. And I've given a couple of people their money back, not a lot. I've been doing this for quite some time. I opened up my own business in 2011, so 9 years, and I probably refunded maybe a handful of people. So that's a pretty good track record, I think. Just a handful of people, and I'll do it gladly because I did fail, and that's okay. Failure is also a part of life, and sometimes that does happen in my industry. And again, that's what the money back guarantee is there for. It's designed to put people at ease, and if we fail, they're not going to lose anything at the end of the day.
Yes, absolutely. So when your company, of course, what does your company offer? What are some of the things that they can do for these clients who think like, I need to get into a consultation with Hector? Like, he can talk to me about this.
Right. So, and you say company, and it's really just myself. It's kind of like you and Edgar. I'm just a mom and pop type shop. It's just myself and my wife. So I'm the one that does all the talking. I'm the big mouth, and then she's behind the scenes doing all the paperwork and whatnot. So it kind of worked out that way. So going back to your question, which was
what services are we?
Oh, gotcha.
Hector provides for these clients, like if they're like,
So,
fits me, late payments, credit lines, boosting points, removal of medical,
So again, it could be all of them all at once. That's the thing. It's not one thing or the other. So it's not like somebody comes in and they say, hey, I want to boost my points, sell me a trade line. No, that might not be the solution for you. It might be that we have to remove some collections, or we might have to pay off some accounts, or we may have to add a trade line or two. So I deal with everybody differently. Correct. Because it's a different credit report every time we open our books. It's going to be completely different. So it can be all those things at once, and it can be just one or the other as well. Again, going back to how we analyze, or how I analyze the credit report, I look for certain things and I develop a strategy for that particular person. And on top of just fixing their credit, I educate them as well. And that's another big part of our program is I educate as much as I can, because I don't want these people to come back. Although I do have some return clients, I don't want them back. I really don't, because that means that I failed in educating them. Sometimes, they don't listen to me, and that's their fault ultimately. But I feel like I failed if I didn't educate them and put them in a position where they can get even higher than what I put them at. So if I get them to a 650, I want to see them at a 750 in a couple of years. I don't want to see them at a 640 or a 620 or barely hanging on. I want to see them thriving in the future. And I want them referring clients to me because, we want to keep that moving forward. Just a little tidbit: I haven't advertised in about 7 years.
Wow.
Not a single, not a single dollar into advertising. Everything is word of mouth,
Referral.
referral based. Exactly. So it's very, very rare, and I don't really get any walk-ins where I'm at, because I'm in a I'm not in a shopping center anymore. I used to be, but now I'm in a little office place, and we don't get walk-ins here. Every now and then there's a bunch of doctors' offices here, and sometimes we'll get somebody that'll walk in, but it's very, very rare. Everything is referral based. So they come in already feeling very comfortable because somebody referred them, whether it was a family member, a realtor, loan officer, somebody has referred them to me. So they feel a little more comfortable, and I like starting off on that foot.
I do like
walk-ins.
Yes, when I first went in, it was very welcoming, and I just knew it. I have this sense of with me all the time, like I gotta feel comfortable in order for me to proceed. And this time around, I felt comfortable right away. Not like the other companies, because I think I went through like 2 companies who at that time tried to fix my credit, and it was like 2 years, and I never got any results.
And I think it's referral base is always key, right? But I think ultimately at the very end of the day, it's a results based business. You know what I mean? You provide results, you're gonna get repeated business. It happens with us, right? You hear this realtor doing this realtor didn't show me that, whatever the case was. You guys did, whether it's just we had a little bit more experience or we just knew how to handle the situation. And that everybody that we've had the pleasure of sending your way to be able to assist them and help them. And I think you touched on it a little bit, a lot more, is educate them so it doesn't happen again. Has come back and told us, you know what the reality is he knew exactly how to attack our problem. He gave us a time frame. He gave us a price. It was nothing difficult. It was nothing challenged. It was here, right? And it's funny that you say, the famous saying, you get what you pay for. You know what I mean? A lot of people be like, oh, you know what? I'm going with the service. I'm going on a 5-year plan. I'm like, man, what are you going to finance? A jet? You know, it's crazy, right? And I think we live in a microwave type world now where we want results today and we want results fast, and that's just what it is. And I wanted you to kind of touch up on a little bit. How do you get your again, because you're a mom and pop shop, right? So you don't have all these people funding money to you to go get educated, go get this stuff. So if you can just touch that a little bit so that people really know, you're also doing your homework. It's not just hey, pay me and let's take a chance on getting your credit fixed, right?
Right. Yeah, I do spend a lot of time doing a lot of research. This is my life. This has been my life for the past 9 years. It's my business. It's my reputation, and I've built a reputation throughout the years, and I don't want to let that fall. I really don't. I love that I get to deal with tons of people, tons of different people like yourselves, all the time. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful feeling to be wanted, so to speak. And that's why I continue to educate myself and learn as much as I can. People have called me a guru or whatever, and it's not that. It's just I continue to educate myself. And just like realtors, you guys have that continuing education stuff or curriculum that you have to continue to do.
Absolutely.
I don't have that, unfortunately, so I just have to do my own research. And I have to figure out what's going on. And sometimes my research is, oh boy, this client came back and we didn't get much removed. Why? Let's figure out why that didn't happen, and let's figure out a solution for the next guy. So it's always evolving, always changing. So I do have to continue to educate myself with everything. Never will I say I know everything 100%, because I don't. Credit is going to be always evolving and changing, and I have to do that as well.
And so what are the changes from the credit bureaus? Like, has anything new come up with the credit bureaus, just kind of like us?
Yeah, like especially like right now, if you can touch on
COVID
going on, how has that changed the way credit's being maybe scored? Is it still full throttle. Touch on that a little bit. I think everybody wants to know that también.
So to start from the beginning, so a long time ago, there was no such thing as eOscar, okay? And eOscar is an automated system that the credit bureaus integrated to take care of their dispute processes, okay? Uh, eOscar was introduced, I don't know the exact date, but somewhere around 2012, 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And pre-eOscar, all we had to do was send off simple dispute letters and we'd get results. It was super easy. We'd take 15, 20 minutes with a client, with the client's file, and we'd get amazing results. Well, around 2012, 2013, everything changed. The introduction of eOscar automated every single letter. So pre-eOscar, there were people actually doing the disputes. They would take care of everybody's dispute. So you'd send a letter in, and there were checkers that would actually check uh, what you're disputing, and they would have to call these collection agencies and verify that these accounts are actually 100% accurate. And that was a lot of work. So a lot of these checkers, I mean, they were getting paid probably minimum wage or very close to it. They probably didn't care. And they would say, hey, you know what? This is a small collection. Let me just write this off. I'll delete it for this guy today. I mean, you know what? I don't feel like calling this collection company because they're a pain. That guy's a jerk over there. So I don't want to deal with him. So I'm going to just delete this. I'll just deal with this one or two. So we got a lot of deletions back and we're like, wow, this is amazing. Well, when eOscar came along, eOscar doesn't do that. He's an automated system and he's going to take care of every single dispute. And he's going to send a 3-digit code to each corresponding company. And they're going to respond back with a 3-digit code verifying the account. And guess what? Everything that you disputed comes back verified and nothing comes off. And I hit a wall. 2012, 2013. And I noticed all of my clients were coming back verified. And I said, whoa, something happened. Sure enough, I had to change the strategy. No longer do we send off simple dispute letters. We send big packets. And I mean, it's extensive now. There's a lot more work involved. The 15, 20-minute deal no longer works anymore. We're taking, a couple of hours with each different file now. So it's a lot more work. So a lot more work involved. Yes, I did increase the prices a little bit. But again, because I offer that money back guarantee, whereas a lot of other companies do not, we can afford to maybe charge a little bit more because we can get a little bit better results. Okay.
That's what I believe. Your value is there. So
exactly. As long as the value is there, then that's it. It's worth it to that person. So that's what happened. eOscar was introduced. So the dispute letters, they sometimes work, they sometimes don't, depending on what you're using. You have to change your way of thinking now with those dispute letters. A lot of people used to use those templates, and the templates don't work anymore. They're outdated. So you kind of have to tailor the program to each individual's needs. So again, that's one of the big transitions in the credit industry that happened many, many years ago. Recently, the whole COVID thing, the credit bureaus have just gotten a lot tighter with things. They didn't necessarily change anything with their system, but they've gotten very, very difficult to deal with. They're ignoring a lot of our packets. So we kind of have to send another packet and another packet. And whether it's illegal or not, I'm pretty sure it is, but they don't care. They're huge companies. I mean, we're talking about probably multi-billion-dollar companies, which is Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and they don't care. They're going to break the law and pay people off if they have to. They make tons of money, so they ignore packets. I've had that happen to me with a few of my clients recently, where I send it overnight and I have a tracking number and they received it, and I call them up and they're like, "No, we didn't receive it." And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean you didn't receive it? I have overnight, I have a tracking. You received it. Well, no, we didn't. Sorry. We don't have anything in our system. So that's a challenge that we're facing right now with the whole COVID thing. They're kind of, in my opinion, they're taking advantage of it by doing something like that. So it prolongs the process a little bit. So again, that's not necessarily it could be a strategy of theirs, not a legal one, but it is a strategy of theirs to not have to do the work and not have to do the research to verify these accounts. So they're acting like they're missing packets. Oh, no, we didn't get that. Sorry. Have a good day. And then you can't do anything about it because you're just one person. So that's another one of the challenges that has come up with this whole COVID thing. Another big thing that a lot of people don't understand is, and this isn't new, but there are several scoring models out there. Okay. For example, Credit Karma. You hear that a lot. Oh, don't look at Credit Karma. It's not accurate, blah, blah, blah. That couldn't be further from the truth. It is very accurate. It comes directly from TransUnion and Equifax. So that information comes directly from the credit bureaus. Okay. Now the scores, I'm not going to say they're inaccurate, but they're not the type of score that is being used by a lot of these lending institutions. Most of the lending institutions out there use FICO. And even with FICO, there's about 49 different variations of FICO. So you hear a lot of people say, oh, just concentrate on your FICO score. Okay, which FICO? There's 49 different variations. Oh, I don't know. Just concentrate on FICO. Okay, you know what? The bottom line is, if you have good credit, you're going to have a good credit score everywhere you go. If you have bad credit, you're going to have a bad credit score everywhere you go.
Yeah.
But there are going to be a lot of variations. And again, Credit Karma is a very beautiful tool because it's free, number one, and it comes directly from the credit bureaus. And that scoring model that they're using, Vantage 3.0, is actually a scoring model that was created by the credit bureaus because they wanted to take over the full industry. They didn't want FICO to get their cut of the pie. So they wanted to take over. Yeah.
That's interesting. That is super interesting because I've had Credit Karma, and I tell a lot of my clients, it may not be like on point, but download it because the accounts are super accurate. It's there. It's like my student loan or my mortgage. It is there. So if you guys don't have it, download the Credit Karma. See where you guys are even at. It's absolutely free. And then maybe even print that, right? And then take it to you maybe and use some of those accounts that way. If it isn't about home mortgage, this is just not about home mortgage and qualifying for a house. This is you, the people out there and the community, maybe even out of state, right? You could probably do out of state.
Oh, yeah,
family
definitely.
Out of state. And they need to direct that to you so you can see how you can help them. But the Credit Karma is a fabulous tool. I look at it. I'm addicted to it. I'm like every day on it. Even though
you know, your daily fix for sure.
Yeah, it's my daily fix. But yeah, download it, guys, because you just, again, this is not just for home mortgage. I mean, it's for
and you know what? It's also a great tool, and I don't think we've touched on it at all so far, Hector. So I'll throw in my 2 cents. I usually have a little bit more than that, but today I'm going to throw in a couple of cents. Is identity theft. You know, I think it's a big thing that's out there. Being a victim of it, it's not fun because you have tons of people that are continuously being affected by it, and there's really nothing to patrol it or anything like that. Credit Karma does help you, and even a lot of these different tools that are out there, not necessarily just Credit Karma, but they do help you monitor that. You get an alert saying, hey, you opened credit at Sears. You're like, wait a minute, we don't even have a Sears store here anymore, whatever it is. And so it does keep you in line. And then that's when you find out, hey, you know what, this was done. And for instance, with me, it happened in Midland, it happened in the oil fields. There's another Edgar out there.
Somebody was pretending they were Edgar. They copied his social everything.
And what's really crazy is, when you try to say, okay, I'm gonna go do a police report or whatever it is, and you file it here in El Paso and everything's fine and dandy because you live here. But now when you try to report like I did, I remember calling the police department there in Midland, and they're sitting here telling me like, well, how do we know you didn't steal his identity? And I'm just like, I go, I'm Edgar. Like, what's going to be like? This is everything, right? But anyhow, I just wanted you to kind of maybe touch up a little bit. Because I think a lot of people do get affected, especially us being, border town. It happened to me. I lost my wallet, and then from there on, like I said, another Edgar was created. So.
And it's super serious. Like this identity theft is super serious. Like he had to go through so much work in order to prove that he was the real Edgar. And the fake Edgar was making over like 6-digit income on Edgar's social. And we didn't catch it at all.
No, until the IRS.
Until the IRS told him that he owed XYZ amount of money. So he made Edgar's life a living, And so have you seen files like that with the identity theft, and how have you taken them into account?
So there's a lot of identity theft going around. The last statistic that I saw was there's a new victim every 3 seconds. So during this podcast, I don't know how many hundreds have already been victimized in some way, shape, or form, whether it be via debit card or credit or employment. That happens very frequently. Okay, so with the credit, because that's what I deal with credit. With the credit, yes, we will file a police report and we'll take all the necessary precautions and we'll add a fraud alert onto your credit report and whatnot. That's going to be key for protecting yourself in the future, okay, is having that fraud alert integrated into your credit report. Credit Karma, going back to that, huge tool when it comes to identity theft, because yes, you can be more proactive than reactive, okay? Reactive would be somebody who goes to GECU and then they find out, oh my God, there's a bunch of accounts in my credit report that aren't mine. Now I got to react. Versus Credit Karma, you can be proactive. You instantly get an alert that, hey, Sears pulled your credit report. Was that you? No, that wasn't me. Let me figure out what's going on and then, go from there. And with that fraud alert, the good thing about the fraud alert, the way it prevents identity theft from happening again to you in the future is your phone number will actually be imprinted on your credit report. And anytime you go and apply somewhere, they have to call the phone number that's on the credit report and verify that you're the one that's trying to get that loan before they can approve the loan. Obviously, if that guy from Midland is trying to get a loan from Midland Federal Credit Union, Midland Federal Credit Union is going to call that number. Edgar's going to answer and say, I don't even live in Midland. I don't know what's going on. Why? Okay, so they're going to deny that person and it's not going to go through. Versus if it was you, you just say, yeah, it was me. They'll ask you a few verification questions just to make sure it's you. And then they process the loan as normal. And I've had a fraud alert on my credit report for the past about 5 years. So it works wonders. I haven't had any issues with identity theft. And I do have Credit Karma. I don't look at it very frequently, but I do have that app. And I also have freecreditreport.com because Credit Karma only gives you TransUnion and Equifax, and you want to take a look at all three. So freecreditreport.com actually gives you Experian, and all three of both of those websites are absolutely free. Okay, I try to help people save as much money as possible when it comes to monitoring their credit, and well, free is about as cheap as it can get. There are other monitoring websites out there like Identity IQ and whatnot, but they charge $20 a month. I don't know what this person's income is like. I don't know if they can afford $20 a month. I'd rather just give it to them free, and it's going to be just as good because, again, this comes directly from the credit bureau. So freecreditreport.com comes directly from Experian. It is Experian, as a matter of fact, that provides that website. And they also provide a score, which is a little bit different. They use FICO, I think it's FICO 08, and it's a much different score. It's very, very, it's not as lenient as Credit Karma. So whenever you get a credit score through freecreditreport.com, it's going to be much, much lower than Credit Karma, and that freaks out a lot of people. But I tell people, ignore the score for now. Let's look at the substance of the report. What's in the report? And let's figure out a solution to minimize as many of those negative accounts as possible so that we can maximize what's happening with your credit score, regardless of the variation of the scoring model.
Exactly. So I think like today, if you know, the people that are watching are going to rewatch this video, I think it's super important that you download for the weekend's homework, right? Is the Credit Karma and the free credit report.com.
Mm-hmm.
You're somewhere stuck in your credit score and you want to get back because, you know, you made a really good point in the beginning of the video is when the feeling that you have, you know, when your credit is low and you see everybody else with good credit and, you know, you see them with a home and you think you need, you know, maybe you're even better than what you think you are. I've had clients that pull their credit.
Exactly.
What? It's this and this is all I need to do. And, you know, but I just, yeah, exactly. And I just kind of feel if you are stuck in that rut, my message today is don't beat yourself over it. You know, life's hard as it is. Just take it, but do something about it. And I think you have some very vital resources here that Edgar, Michelle are trying to give and the team to be able to, of course, get back on track, right? And whether it's a home, like you said, Hector, whether it's a car, whether it's furniture, whatever you want to buy out there, get on board with getting your credit back in line. So today, I mean, I would encourage you guys to download the Credit Karma, the freecreditreport.com, see what it is. And I even put Hector's, all his information on the bottom so that you can contact him. You can message him and say, can I do a Zoom call? Can I do a call? And I have quite a bit of clients on my Facebook that have gone through you, Hector. I wish they were here. I'm just one of them that can comment or say, you know, they are proven results. I would never take you anywhere that I haven't been, and I've been here. So you got to trust me. Well, don't beat me up, okay? If I do Hector. Sometimes we fail, right? But it's him.
Right.
But we're all in it together. We're all in it together. It's a team effort. You got to do exactly, you know, just like the doctor says, you know, take the meds and you'll end up getting better, right? The same thing here with the report. What have we missed that you want to be like, Jackie, you know, the people out here in the community? Because I'm going to boost this podcast because I think it's very important to people.
I think the biggest thing is education. Let's educate ourselves. El Paso has been one of the worst cities in the entire United States when it comes to credit scores. That's not something we should be proud of, unfortunately. We used to be in the top 5 worst. I think we're now in the top 10 worst cities in the United States. So
Scary.
We need to educate ourselves. We need to educate our children. We need to figure out, you know, what are we doing wrong with this whole credit situation? And my consultations are always free. I'm not going to charge you anything until you decide you want to get started onto one of our programs. So pick my brain, keep me on my toes. That's really all it is. I'm not going to charge you anything to pick my brain. I have quite a bit of information. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but if I have an answer, I'm going to give it to you. And I'm going to educate you as much as possible because we don't have that education in our school system. They don't teach about credit. They don't teach anything about credit until you fall on your face and you have to figure it out for yourself. By then it's too late. So we need to stop the cycle if we want to build a community to a point where we're going to have, you know, I don't know, another Phoenix area. Because Phoenix is beautiful. I love Phoenix. But we want to get to that position where all of us can earn a minimum wage of, you know, $60,000 a year. And we're not going to be able to do that unless we get our credit built up properly and start building up our communities that way. And I think that's where it starts, is the credit.
You hit a very good point on the education. So I feel that's why I thought this podcast was so important, because there's so many people on the edge right now and they just can't. And what worries, well, it's not going to worry me, right? That's why we have this, is I'm going to educate and try to boost as much as I can, is this pandemic has really kicked people in the butt. It has kicked people in the butt. There's people that are barely trying to make the minimum payment like I was years ago. And there are people that are, you know, I hope not, they're going to face the foreclosure or, meanwhile, do not get into foreclosure. You need to call right away so we could get you either to rent your home like I did, right. Rent it. You need to pick up the phone, use your resources. And we're one of those sitting right behind you. If you have questions about being behind on your payment, what should I do, Jackie? What am I going to do if I end up being late or if I go into foreclosure? Or we're going to try to stop the foreclosure, by the way. Short sale, do those even exist anymore? What is this pandemic going to do to us? And I want you to have this resource with Hector, because if you fall into any of the stuff that we just went over and discussed, you have his name, you have his number, you call us and we'll provide it for you and we'll get you with Hector, because I know it's a tough time for many people right now. So what do you have to say to that?
No, I think you nailed it there. Yeah. There's a lot of good resources here. Live. I know Hector's one, and say you do fall behind, and things happen. Again, life hits, and we're all going through it. I mean, don't give up. The world's going through it right now. It's just not an El Paso thing. It's not a real estate thing. It's not anything. It's just, we're going through this pandemic. We don't know, hopefully, again, the vaccine is going to take care of that, and we can put that to a stop and then start helping people overcome it. But there is a great resource here to help you out. Hector, thank you again. You helped me and Jackie out tremendously personally wise, which is why I think this podcast for us, it hits. There's a lot of emotion to it because it's real, and we've been through it. We've been there. And there is times, where I say, man, I'm never going to be able to, get another car. I'm going to drive this for the rest of my life, or I'm going to have to buy a cash, or got to win the lotto. That's not the case. Get educated. And I think that's the number one thing right there, is continue to get educated on it. And we all don't have the answers. I know I don't. But I always tell I'm always very happy that I have these resources. People tell us, how come you and Jackie are, successful in doing real estate and stuff? And you're a prime example. We have somebody that we can send you to when it comes to a credit situation or something came up. You're there to help fix. And if we can throw a referral, just like Victor or wherever Jackie got your information from, we like to return the favor and do that for someone else as well.
Good information. Nobody, any comments, Michelle? Michelle's my right-hand girl over here.
It was that they wanted their information.
They wanted your information, but I went ahead and put it right on the bottom. Okay, and then of course you guys get with them, and then we go from there.
Really great.
Se habla español.
Se habla español, ¿verdad?
Yes, of course, 100%. I'm fluent.
Yeah, guys. So no credit, too bad. I mean, give it a chance, okay? Hector, we want to thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Have a wonderful Friday. Much blessings to you and to our El Paso community. I'm really going to take you up on maybe setting something up. When this thing stops, I would like to maybe have something here at my office with refreshments, with drinks, and maybe you come in and we educate our community a little more. Not only that, I want to educate the kids. Those are the kids. Before we end, because who was it? Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
He tries to bring this course or this subject to the high schools for these kids, on financial, how to get them a debit card and debit, credit, and how much to save and what to do and how to take care of their credit. I really hope maybe we could bring something like that to the schools.
That would be awesome. That would be ideal. We tried that many years ago, but it kind of fell on deaf ears. A lot of people just didn't show up. We would have free seminars and nobody would show up. And it was like mind-boggling. And, you're getting free education and you don't show up. So it also starts with the community. The community has to be willing to show up. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah,
Yes.
But, that is something to talk about. And maybe we will later on, is maybe teaching these kids a little bit more, or adults. They're, my kid's already 17 and
but they're asking the questions.
Asking the questions,
And there's a lot of tricks for us parents as well to put them in a position. And I can gladly share that with you in the future. how to
Yeah.
put them in a position to be in the 700s and continue to stay in the 700s,
That's
which
what I want to hear.
700s are good. Yeah.
Yes. We'll do another little episode on that or a seminar.
Follow up.
That'll work. Yeah, that'll work.
Well, I
Good
hope you
deal,
guys
man.
enjoyed our podcast. We're gonna, continue to bring you more education. Again, we want to thank Hector. You all have a fabulous Friday and take care.
Adios.
Adios.